All right, get ready to dive deep because today we're heading straight into Basque country.
A region in Spain practically famous for its bold flavors.
And those hearty, soul-satisfying dishes.
It's the kind of food that just makes you feel good.
And the best part is we're not just talking about it, we're actually breaking down a recipe.
A recipe that truly captures that rustic Basque charm. Basque-style chicken with peppers and olives.
It's one of those one-pan wonders.
Uh-huh.
Surprisingly easy, but so delicious.
You're right, it works for a casual weeknight dinner, or even if you're trying to impress some guests.
Okay, so we're going to unpack this recipe, but I really want to get into the why behind it, because I think that's what helps us become better cooks.
I completely agree. It's like, instead of just following a map, you're actually understanding the landscape, right?
Exactly.
And that brings us to the chicken itself. Bone in, skin on thighs. Now, I know it can be tempting to go boneless, skinless.
Flavor convenience, right.
Exactly. But that bone, that's our secret weapon.
Okay, I'm all ears. What does it do?
It adds this incredible depth of flavor as it cooks. A richness you just can't get with boneless cuts.
That makes sense. It's almost like, what is it about Basque cuisine? They really believe in using the whole ingredient, right?
Absolutely. Respecting every part of the ingredient and getting the most flavor out of it. And that ties in with the skin.
Yeah, crispy skin, a must.
You can't have Basque cuisine without crispy skin. It's practically a rule.
I love it.
Not only does it give you that fantastic texture.
It's almost like a requirement.
Yeah. But it's also crucial for developing flavor because of something called the Maillard reaction.
Oh, the Maillard reaction. Okay, hold on. This is so cool, but I always hear about it. Can you break it down for me?
Of course. So when you sear that chicken skin over high heat, right, the amino acids and sugars in the chicken react to the heat.
Ah, okay.
And they create hundreds of new flavor compounds. That's what gives you that beautiful golden brown color and those rich, savory notes that just make your mouth water.
It's like chemistry, but you can eat it. And I noticed the recipe really emphasizes getting that sear just right.
It's essential.
So it's not just about browning the chicken, it's about setting the stage for everything else.
Exactly. It's the foundation.
And speaking of foundations, after we've got that beautiful sear on the chicken, then we add in our aromatics, right?
Yes. Simple but essential. We're talking onions and garlic cooked in the same pan, using all those tasty brown bits left behind by the chicken.
Oh, I love that. Building layers of flavor. It's like the foundation of a delicious house, right?
You got it. And upon this foundation, we're going to layer even more complexity. Up next, those bell peppers. And this is where that touch of sweetness comes in. It's a real hallmark of Basque cuisine.
Makes sense.
The recipe calls for both red and yellow peppers.
Oh, for the color.
Absolutely. They add a beautiful vibrancy to the dish. And of course, they balance out those savory flavors.
It's amazing how something as simple as different colored bell peppers can have such a visual impact.
It's all about the details, right?
Definitely.
And speaking of elevating flavors, we can't forget the olives.
Oh, the olives. They bring that salty, almost meaty element that I love.
Exactly. And they work so well with the sweetness of the peppers and the richness of that chicken.
They really do tie everything together. So we've got our beautifully seared chicken, that flavorful base of onions and garlic, vibrant bell peppers, briny olives, all hanging out in the pan. What's the secret sauce that brings it all home?
The sauce, my friend. The sauce is where the magic happens. And this isn't just some afterthought.
Oh, no, I've been waiting for this. Tell me more.
This is where all those flavors we've been building have a chance to really meld and transform.
I love that.
The recipe calls for deglazing the pan with a mix of chicken broth and white wine.
Ah, deglazing. So we're lifting up all those tasty brown bits from the bottom of the pan.
Precisely. And the wine brings in a wonderful complexity, a touch of acidity.
It brightens everything up.
Yeah, got it. Now, I know some people are hesitant about cooking with wine.
Me too sometimes, honestly.
Yeah. And you know what? The recipe actually mentions that you can substitute it. If you'd rather not cook with alcohol, just use a little extra chicken broth.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay, so we've deglazed. What else goes into this Basque masterpiece?
Okay, get ready for this lineup. Crushed tomatoes.
Oh, nice.
A touch of smoked paprika for that smoky depth.
Yes.
A hint of dried thyme for earthiness.
Yeah.
And last but not least, a bay leaf for that final layer of complexity.
Wow, it really is all about those carefully chosen ingredients. They come together to make something so much greater than the individual parts.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And it all comes together during that simmering time.
That's where the real magic happens, right?
Absolutely. 25 to 30 minutes.
Covered or uncovered?
Covered. We want that chicken to get super tender, the flavors to meld and deepen, and that sauce to thicken up. It's not just about cooking the chicken through. It's about letting everything harmonize.
It's like a symphony of flavors. And speaking of symphonies, what about accompaniments? This recipe is a complete meal in itself, but are there any sides that you think would really make it sing?
Oh, absolutely. Crusty bread for dipping is a classic for a reason. That sauce is begging to be sopped up.
Absolutely.
But you could also go for steamed rice, couscous, maybe even some roasted potatoes.
It's really striking me how something so rooted in tradition can feel so fresh at the same time.
That's the beauty of Basque cuisine. It's all about simple, bold flavors and letting good ingredients shine. And you know what else is great about it? This recipe, it's surprisingly approachable.
It really is. And I think what we've done today is given our listeners not just the steps, but the why behind them.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
you can start to trust your instincts in the kitchen.
Become a more intuitive cook.
Exactly. That's when cooking becomes really fun.
Okay, so to wrap things up, I have to say, this Basque-style chicken with peppers and olives,
Yeah.
it feels like a perfect starting point for a whole world of Basque culinary adventures.
I love that. And I have a feeling once you try this recipe, you're going to be craving more.
I know I am. Any recommendations for those ready to take the leap?
Well, if you enjoy this chicken dish, you might love a classic Basque seafood stew.
Ooh, tell me more.
They are packed with flavor. Fresh seafood, of course, and that rustic charm that we love about Basque cuisine. Or, if you're up for a challenge, you could try making pintas.
Pintox. Now, those I'm not so familiar with.
So think of them as Basque tapas.
Okay, I'm listening.
Small, flavorful bites, and they're as beautiful as they are tasty. You can do so much with them. From simple bread and cheese to more elaborate creations with seafood or vegetables, it's a real testament to Basque creativity, and you get to experience so much variety.
I'm adding pint sauce to my culinary to-do list for sure. This whole deep dive has me craving all things Basque. Thank you so much for guiding us on this delicious journey.
My pleasure. It was fun.
And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us. We hope you feel inspired to try this recipe and share your creations with us. Until next time, happy cooking.